It's Matt, along with Goose, and today we're going to talk about the last Dragon 7 unit, Orgodemir. Human form, what's he good at, what's he not really so good at. So stay tuned and enjoy. Alright, so, and to notice, by the time I basically get this video up, we will be, or no, sorry, on Sunday, we will be getting Orgodemir, the human form. Uh, Overall, I will be very honest, this unit is pretty disappointing, especially by our current standards in the game. Um, and arguably maybe the worst unit that we are expecting to be released in any part of the game overall right now. It is a boss, it is a magic user. Its leadership effect reduces spell consumption by 15% is not very strong and not very useful overall. First skill is Devil's Heart, which can occasionally confuse one enemy and will also increase damage being taken. So this is an interesting skill. It would have been a lot better if it had a little bit more AoE to it, but it can be useful. Confuse is an okay stat, but increasing damage being taken is pretty nice. Second skill is its only elemental skill, but it is a breath skill. It does do decent damage, but it is kind of disappointing, depending, especially when you'll see how high his wisdom is, that this is not a spell. But at least it's the breathtaking first damage fan breath, so it will do similar damage to like Dragon Lord True Forms, which is still a good damage, and also it has the ability to really increase damage being taken. This is going to be probably the main skill you'll use Orgodemir for. The last one's Psycho Spark, which is going to be inflict 8 small spell damage on all enemies. It's very random. It is an X pattern, so it has a unique AoE, which actually might allow you to cover additional units, but unless if they're weak to Frizz, more than likely you're going to go with Prison Flame just for the increased damage being taken. With Psycho Spark, it is random. If you've only got the one enemy, you will get 8 nice solid sets of damage overall, but still, from a damage standpoint, Orgodemir is a little underwhelming for being this late in the game. His first skill is HP below 20 for one time, will recover all HP. With his low HP overall, this is actually a pretty underwhelming skill. So not a huge fan, unfortunately. It's just too small of a window. I'll discuss more of this a little later. Second is Whoosh, fourth is Zam, and third and fifth, just like always, is Psycho Spark power +5. His level 120 stats, you can see his HP is only 872, and remember, this is fully awakened at level 120, so this is getting him to 5 hearts. So if you take 20% of that, it is just going to be around 175 HP, maybe a little bit more if you can get a high HP weapon on him, but really you want to just focus Wisdom if you do have him. His MP is 500, which is actually pretty useful. His attack's 265, his defense is 268. Now, if you look at the HP and defense, that combination is very poor. So he just doesn't have a lot of heft at all. And in all honesty, he is just incredibly disappointing. Even his special skill is pretty disappointing overall. Uh, his special skill is if you're at the beginning of the action, if your HP is 100%, the damage to be done to the enemy will increase by 20%. Now, in all fairness, too, though, that you would expect him to be pretty much at 100%, but if he takes any damage, he does lose 20% more of his damage. So, and if he takes 2 hits, he's usually dead. So if there's if you're fighting an enemy with large AoE or anything like that, then Orgodemir Human Form just does not perform very well. The agility is 390, wisdom's 437. The agility and wisdom, though, are very, very high, and this is his strengths. It's nice that he has high agility, and he always has movement of 3. So along with his range, and if you look at the range here, range 2, 1 to 3, he can attack in arena first with that 20%, but then usually you're sacrificing him. So it is, and with the weight being 65, that does hurt his arena usage. There are much better units in arena than Orgodemir Human Form. His preferred weapon is the Dark Crystal Staff in the Mini Metal Exchange, spell power plus 4%. Mostly because we don't have really a great breath weapon to give him, and so spell power for his spark is going to be the best item to give him. And in all fairness, too, he doesn't really have a weapon in the event right now, and not too many really prefer the Dark Crystal Staff, so this isn't an absolute waste, but still, it's a little disappointing. Kind of lowers his pecking order for drawing units as well. Wisdom's plus 28 and skills to look for in alchemy is spell power, magic, and agility. There's no real surprises here for Human Form. His preferred learned skills, basically you just want to give him an element. Crackle's the best one. Swoosh and Sizzle are the other 2 that you can give him. Really, if you don't have Crackle, any other element is just okay. The difference between usefulness of Swoosh and anything but maybe Zam is only a couple percentage points difference. So at this point, go ahead, use whatever. Generally, Sizzle might not be a bad idea too, but there are a few enemies both strong against Frizzle and Sizzle, or Frizz and Sizz type damage, so all in all, this is going to be one of the few S units, though, that you would probably really like to have a skill on. Yeah, the damage isn't great, but he really does need a second element overall to be that much more usefulness, especially with the ability to increase damage 20% with 100% HP. Can do extra damage overall with that high wisdom. Give him one more element, you'll be okay. Pros. Surprisingly, my pros list is actually fairly small. But he does have pretty high 2 pros. His wisdom is one of the highest in the game, and the agility is also very much in there with a 3 movement, even with 0 dupes. So at the very least, he has the ability to move up, move quickly, and go through everything and hit fairly hard. But the HP fill that he gets for his first dupe only gives the windows between 139 to 175 HP. That'll go all the way back up to full. It's an incredibly small window to proc. Now if you give him a weapon that gives HP, it will increase it slightly as well. But this is, even total, it's only 175. And I'm not even sure if it's 174 or 175, to be honest. I don't know if it rounds up or rounds down. But that window is just really small to proc. Even frustrated with like a Stark with being 50%, giving 50% back, I see that not being procced a quarter at the time. because the enemies just hit really, really hard. So being 400 versus 175, that's just way too small. The main skills that you're going to be using, especially the ones that are based on his wisdom, are non-attribute spells. That first damage is breath only. At least it is the breathtaking Dragon Lord True Form, which, by the way, is also on the banner here as well. Kind of a good pairing, to be honest. That's his only elemental. You're going to want him to give him another elemental spell. And this guy is a glass cannon with a low HP and defense combination. And in all fairness, his damage isn't great either. He's a glass cannon with a cannon that's okay. He's slightly better than Zoma is right now, but Zoma's got a much, much better survivability, and that's assuming that the element's neutral. Zoma with the ice weakness or crackle weakness will actually outdamage Orgodemir for the most part. So, and Zoma's 4 months old, so it's just really disappointing for Orgodemir here. Finally, will I pull? No. I'm not even sure if I'm going to do the guaranteed S pull. That's how disappointed I am in this unit. Probably the worst unit that we're going to see, other than maybe Forest Dragon. But Forest Dragon has great niche uses. I'm not even sure if Orgodemir has that many great niche uses at all. The only thing that's nice is his breath skill that can increase damage being taken. But other than, as I say, Forest Dragon, a lot of the other units, if you get, you'll be like, oh, okay, and we can use. If you're brand new, pull on Demon Form. Don't spend your resources on Human Form here. It's just not really worth it. Now, is the A unit here. In all fairness, the name alone for this unit is probably one of the best units, at least for me. Pink Panzer, great name. As a unit overall, this is a beast. Quite honestly, it's useful. His first scale flash sheet has his physical damage to all enemies. Nice AoE. Nothing super strong, but I like the AoE with a elemental here. Has its uses. Swoosh has also magic here. It's not nearly as good as the other skills, but at least the magic here has a decent amount of magic. Finally, Paralyze Slash can actually inflict some decent non-elemental damage, and Paralyze on top of it, that is actually very useful. Its attack is pretty high for its there, but it has very low HP defense, and with a decent agility on top of it. So the one big issue that you have with this is Pink Panzer is another large glass cannon. But I will say it has one unique use. Its leadership effect, increased paralyzed success by 10%. That's going to be the main use that I would get out of it if I desperately need to have paralyze. Pink Panzer will be what I'm looking at. It's not super useful, but at least it has a niche. If a unit is paralyzed, it will do additional damage. It has Assassin Fang, but otherwise, as I say, unless if you're looking specifically for paralyzed, this is not a great unit either. So all in all, I'm going to say this. This is probably one of the easiest skip banners for a lot of people that I've seen. So what do you guys think? Please comment down below. Also, if you haven't followed, please do so. I generally do some giveaways, which I will probably do either at the end of the month or in the middle of November. So I hope you guys are having a lot of fun Dragon Quest 7. They have been really, really generous with the event for gathering rank up materials, which I have been trying to use as much as possible. How have you guys been doing? As I say, just leave a comment down below as well. Thank you guys. I will see you guys a little bit later. I will be putting up another video this weekend on some units that we'll be looking forward to in the future. Bye everyone.